There's a relative of a deceased Alabama marijuana license defends family in Curaleaf. Hold on, let me read this again. Relative of deceased Alabama marijuana licensee defends family and Curaleaf, you guys. Okay, so get ready for this. The granddaughter of a deceased applicant named on an Alabama medical marijuana license form defended her family and its joint venture with multi-state operator Curaleaf Holdings. Martha Carter, the former president of Carter's Contracting Services, is listed as a 51% owner of Three Notch Roots, a joint venture with Curaleaf, the company's minority application for an integrated facility license. Carter died in March before the application deadline, according to the Alabama Political Reporter News website. And still, the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commissioner, the AMCC, ranked the application 8 out of 38 in a statement supplied by Curaleaf Holdings. Hannah Carter, the granddaughter of Martha Carter, said the application was compliant with state regulations. In a quote, "My family is indigenous to this region, and we have deep roots in agriculture, which made us an ideal partner for the team at Curaleaf as they sought to ensure a local approach to their launch in the state of Alabama," Carter said. Further, we have always been transparent about our intentions to secure a license in the state of Alabama. To that end, we have adhered to every regulatory disclosure and requirements throughout the application process. For anyone to suggest that the passing of a family member was related to this process is not only offensive but libelous, they say. You know, it's not the first issue that's been raised, although through Alabama's medical marijuana licensing process this past year. The first round of licenses was voided in June, and a new batch of licenses was awarded in August. Chicago-based multi-state operator Verano Holdings is one of 2 companies suing the AMCC after initially winning and then subsequently losing a coveted vertically integrated license. It's also not the first time questions have been raised about whether a marijuana license application by a deceased person is valid. A Florida family was denied a cannabis license by a judge in August after their applicant, Moten Hawkins, died after submitting the application. Well, this poses a whole new different type of set of legal arguments, I feel, that we're going to see in the cannabis space, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
There are no jurisdictions I'm aware of who thought about what happens if your equity applicant croaks on you before you get through the process.
Yes, I don't think that was in anybody's plan of action.
No, wait, why is it taking so long? People are dying. Okay, that's the first
that's
problem.
a good spin
The
right there,
process
Liz.
is taking too goddamn long.
That's a great spin right there,
There are
Liz.
too many people.
I love it.
Well, I agree.
I'm sorry.
What we try to do is, if somebody's married, okay, we get agreements with the spouse about how ownership is going to happen. And if they're not married, and we put in provisions that, the company gets to buy back the stock, so you maintain control of it as a company. When you have the social equity applicant, they're not a company. They're a person, a real flesh and blood person. You can't split them up into pieces, okay? So most places require 51% at least ownership of your social equity. So that person cannot be the fictitious entity of a business, okay? They've got to be that person. So that's where the disconnect is. And these local jurisdictions, they could fuck up a wet dream. I'm telling you right now, they have not thought about any of this stuff. And so when you bring something new to them, they go, oh, let's just pull the plug and start over again. Well, hang on. People have put tens of thousands of dollars into getting these licenses, and you decide, well, we're going to start over again because we fucked something up. How are you going to get yourself sued? And it just makes, like Liz says, you go for years. I've got a project right now that's 4 years waiting for even the planning commission to approve it. We haven't put a shovel in the ground, and it's like, this is ridiculous.
Man.
It's fucking ridiculous. And it's because everybody's got their hand in the pie. And that is the problem. And it's all, oh, well, there's social equity here and there's here. I mean, it's all of these these complex rules around what essentially is an industry, around agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
around distribution. It's a consumer industry. Yes, it is a medicine, and I believe in regulation. I sure do. I would like to have a safe product when I go into the dispensary. But I'm also an American who can go down the street and buy Four Loko and down that, and that's perfectly legal. And if you don't know what Four Loko is, look it up.
Oh
But
boy.
it's just like, come on, what are we doing here? It's all bullshit. It's all complex bullshit.
Mhm.
And I'm so sorry for these families who are fighting to see their dream realized, because that's another thing. You can't put it all, I mean, I know you have to have one applicant, you have to have one person to point to, but it's just not realistic. These are groups, organizations are coming together to pool this money and pool the brains and pool all of it. Just because a person dies does not mean that the dream dies or the system dies. So it's what a mess. Congratulations, Alabama.
Man, I mean, I just feel like
Texas looked good.
and I find it interesting because like even with Los Angeles with social equity licenses, those you can't transfer them, and if you are able to transfer them, they have to be transferred to someone that is also a qualified social equity applicant, and I just don't understand how these people not having the ability to transfer these licenses are going to be able to ever really obtain the generational wealth that was promised to them at the beginning of all these programs.
Exactly,
It's a pipe
exactly. And if
dream.
we could go on and on.
Yeah.
It's a mess and it's ineffective and it's just
Hmm.
not working.
I
So,
mean, yeah, I mean, and at the same time too, I'm surprised that on some of these applications that they wouldn't allow for something like in the event of someone's passing, for them to possibly even put into their application in the beginning that we're going to file under this person, and if something happens to them as far as their health wise or whatnot, then it transfers into maybe like a trust that their family would hold or something like that. Like that to me would make the most
yeah.
sense.
Right. I have a question. How does the alcohol industry do it? How does the tobacco industry do it? How does any fucking industry do it?
Well,
Can we take best practices or no? Is this plant just too crazy? No, like
well,
it's just that's what's frustrating me is other industries are thriving.
if we get
And
to a
they have
point
these.
where we figure this out, my family owned liquor licenses. When we decided that we were done, we put them up for auction. They were sold. The alcohol commission took a look and make sure that you weren't disqualified for any reason when you bought it, and you just sold it. Okay.
Hmm.
And we divested ourselves of the liquor licenses. And I'm working in a jurisdiction right now where if before you get your local business operations permit and all your permits, if you change ownership, you have to go back and start from scratch. Okay,
Hmm.
that is stupid. That kills them.
Yeah.
And then other places, there just is no, there's nothing in the ordinance that helps you. And so you're wondering, well, if I go in and ask for a change of ownership now, what's it going to do? I've got a dispensary right now in Tracy, or Tracy in here in California has no language in their ordinance about this. What happens? Okay, so if you try to change ownership in midstream, we don't know. It's possible they'll go, oh, cool, because the social equity applicant's going to be there, the others are going to go away. Maybe they'll just approve it. Maybe they won't. So we got to
Hmm.
stay. It's like being in a bad marriage where you can't sell the house.
Mhm.
Wife lives in one room, husband lives in another. They don't want to share the toilet. They're just hate each other. But you got to, smile and look like you're doing this until you get through the local process because the state says you can buy and sell these licenses. You got to retain 20% ownership and then get them approved and you sell your next 20%. We've been doing this for years. So I don't know. It's very frustrating for me because I don't have an answer for people other than roll the dice,
Hmm.
and don't sue me if it turns out, that you lost.
Man, oh
Shit.
man, oh man. And on that, we got to
You
go to
wild, Dale.
yes, we got to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.